Hi guys, in today's session we'll be learning about the foundations of growth hacking. So before we get started with this session, I want to give like a short intro about me. I am Aisha Puja Dayalin and I've been in this growth hacking industry for about 4 to 5 years and had a fantastic journey working with a lot of D2C brands and a lot of SaaS companies, tech companies and many. So today we'll be learning about the foundations of growth hacking. So before we actually begin the session, let's just set the context right for today's session. So you'll be learning about what is growth hacking, how is growth hacking different from marketing, myths about growth hacking, the growth hacking mindset, growth hacking experimentation framework, what is growth funnel, and obviously at the end you'll be learning the two fundamental basics using growth hacking called as NSM and OMTM. So let's get started. So this is like a short story that I want to tell you guys. So this was asked by one of my followers on LinkedIn. So he texted me asking he's not able to understand what exactly is growth hacking and how is it differentiate from marketing. So here's the story. Imagine you have a little plant and you want to grow it big and strong. You try different things like giving it more water, putting it in sunlight spot, or even singing to it. When you see something that makes your plant grow faster, you keep doing it. That's exactly is growth. You try different things, figure out which is working out, and once you find that thing that's working out, you build your strategy and on top of that thing and scale it. That's exactly how growth hacking works. This is a simple definitions of growth hacking. So wherever you search, you will learn a lot of definitions about growth hacking, but this is just like a very basic definition that I wrote it from my book that I had. So growth hacking is a specialized discipline designed exclusively for scalable growth. Utilizing a data-centric approach, it engages in rapid experimentation across the full funnel to achieve accelerated and sustainable expansion. So you just don't have to memorize all these definitions. You just have to basically understand what growth hacking is. I hope that a short plan story that I told you helped you remember what growth hacking exactly is. So I think this important question that everybody has it is how is growth hacking different from marketing? So I think this is something that we'll be learning down the line. To just give you like top of the view, so marketers usually, like for example, a digital marketer is running ad and he's driving traffic to a landing page. Probably he's giving out lead magnets like ebook, probably like a free course or free sessions to get in the email ID and phone number of that particular lead. And after here his jobs basically stops. He works in awareness and acquisition stage, but after that the revenue and stuff is probably doesn't sit on the pocket and job out of a marketer. So but a growth hacker would work in awareness, acquisition, a lot of other stage till he gets in revenue, retention, and even referrals. So that's exactly the difference between growth hacking and marketing. But this is just a very top of the funnel view. So we'll deep dive and you will have a better understanding how growth hacking and marketing is different when we just go past this session. So quick thing. So let's just burst some myths about growth hacking. So as you can see, myth number 1, it's just quick marketing tricks. So obviously growth hacking does not employ any creative technologies. It's not about quick fixes. It's a long-term integrated approach involving product development, customer engagement, data analytics, and a lot of things. So it's never just a quick marketing trick. With number 2, it guarantees immediate growth. Obviously it's a no. Growth hacking is an experimental process. Not every tactic will work, and results are not immediate. It's like a huge process. You try and success and probably you would succeed in one experiment, probably you will fail in another experiment, but it's a lot of time taking and iteration process. So it's never guarantees immediate growth. With number 3, it's only for startups. Obviously it's a no. While growth hacking is popular among startups, it can be applied in any organization that is wanting to grow and scale their business. With number 4, it's all about virality. Viral growth is just one potential outcome. Growth hacking encompasses a variety of tactics and channels aiming for sustainable growth over time. So one thing that you have to understand is growth hacking is all about coming up with sustainable and scalable experiments which would help us in the long run. So it's never a quick thing or a virality factor. It's always about coming up with tactics and strategies which is sustainable and which can be scaled down the line. Myth number 5, it replaces traditional marketing. Growth hacking and traditional marketing can coexist. Growth hacking is often more experimentational and data driven, but it can complement traditional marketing strategies. But it's marketing. I would say if marketing is here, growth hacking is here. So there is a lot of different things that has to be done in growth hacking. So obviously it cannot replace marketing. Marketing will exist, growth hacking will coexist. So that's something that we have to make it clear. So myth number 6, it's a one size fits all. So obviously it is not. It varies from business to business. You have to run your own experiments in whatever business that you work in. So it's all about finding that most effective strategy for your specific business model and customer base. So it's obviously not one size fits all. I hope you busted all the myths about growth hacking that you have in mind. Let's keep going. The growth hacking mindset. So this is something that one of my mentor taught me when I started growth hacking, and this is very very important to set your mindset right as a growth hacker, or as someone who wanted to get into growth hacking, probably a founder who's trying to learn growth hacking. It is important to make sure that you have your growth hacking mindset right. So what do I mean when I say growth hacking mindset? First thing, change your image of success. So when it comes to growth hacking, success is all about failing faster and coming up with that one strategy that works for your business. So obviously you have to change your image of success. In growth hacking, it's all about failing and failing faster till you find that one thing that would make your business scale. Number 2, don't be stopped by obstacles. So whenever you're stuck, make sure you ask someone. Go to ChatGPT, go to Google, talk to someone, and then try to figure out, because growth hacking it can never be like properly thought. It's all about experimentation. You would have frameworks that would help you build the foundation for growth hacking, but it's always a process which would keep going and iterating. So whenever you feel like you're stuck, ask for help. This is something that I learned early on in my career, which has saved me a lot of time. Number 3, stay curious. So it's all about asking yourself that stupid question: why is the conversion rate very low on the landing page that I built yesterday? And why is the conversion really high on the landing page that someone built like probably 2 months back and you felt it was very bad? So I think staying curious and then finding answers, it's very important in growth hacking. Number 4, challenging your own assumptions. So this is like a personal story that I want to share. So I think this was like my first job I had in Bangalore. So I came in, and then that was like my first experience with a growth hacking firm. I was working with them, and we came up with an experiment to test out which creative is giving us more conversions for our landing page. And the creative that I did, which was way way bad than our designer did, I did it on Canva in probably like 2 minutes, and this creative that I designed gave me more conversions than the creative that was done by a top class designer in my firm. This taught me that always go by data and not assumptions. As a growth hacker, you have to be on the tip of your data and always take decisions on the basis of the data points that you have and not by intuitions and assumptions. So this is very important. One of the most important factor in growth hacking is the key to experimentation, because growth hacking is all about coming up with different ideas and trying to understand which experiment is giving you results. So this is very important. So I hope you have your growth hacking mindset right. So as I said, growth hacking is all about coming up with experimentation. So here is a simple framework for the experimentation process. So if you read online, you would find a lot of processes like this, but this is something that I use, which is simple and clean and neat. First is you have to understand your objective, define a clean metric to track, come up with ideas to experiment, evaluate and pick up your battle of experiments you want to try, execute and analyze the result, and at the end, document your learnings. So in any growth hacking process, documentation is the key, because you have a lot of things that you want to experiment, and making sure that you want to put in everything out on a paper or on a sheet is very important for you to have that top of the funnel view and understand which is that one thing that worked and what are the other things that didn't work out, and what are the lessons that you learned from the things that didn't work out. So there are a lot of tools online available if you want to basically do it in a scale. There is something called as growthhackers.com, in which there are dedicated softwares for growth hackers who do a lot of experiments in scale. But I specifically have worked with a lot of early stage startups, in which we do probably, like, if we pick up one objective, we would run like 4-5 experiments, which doesn't need like a lot of documentation, which has to be just done on a software. So I use like a simple Excel to it. So I'm just going to share that. Here is a very a simple experimentation Excel sheet which I usually do it. So you basically try to understand what is that objective that you're running your growth hack for. For here, let's take an example that you are a coach who teaches how to master Excel. So the objective is you want to increase the show up rate. You want to increase the show up rate to at least like 30% increase of show up rate to your webinars that you're conducting, because the strategy that you have is you sell your high ticket courses in the webinar. So only when people show up on webinars, you can basically sell it to people. So the more people show up on your webinar, the more chances that you sell more. So let's do an objective that 30% increase in show up rate to my Excel webinar. Okay, and here you come up with all different ideas that you want to run. For example, idea 1 is you do automated email reminders 1 hour before the session, and also 1 day, 12 hours before the session. This might be one idea that you want to test. Second idea, maybe do automated calling, do automated voice calls before 15 minutes and 5 minutes before the start of the webinar. So like that, you come up with idea 3, idea 4, idea 5, and then you come up with your own hypothesis on will this work out, or what do you think about the strategy that you want to try, and then you put your start date. Probably if you're starting on like 25th August, and then you're ending this by 3rd September. And then you write down all the results that you basically got. Let's just take an example that automated voice calls increase the show up rate. So you write like 20% increase in show up rate from automated voice calls. So that this worked. You have to come up with the learning that you did. So the learning number 1 that we might have here is a lot of people didn't open the email. The open rate of email was just like 8%. uh, but the show up rate increase happened in automated calls, which is about 20% increase. So here you note down the learnings. So the first thing that we tried was automated email reminders 1 hour before the session and also 12 hours before the session. The email open rate was just 8% and the show up rate increased only by 1.8% from this. So you basically understood and learned one important learning here, that email reminder specifically doesn't work out for your audience. So this is like a simple framework that you can use. So I'll be attaching the link to this Excel sheet on the description. Make sure that you copy it, make a copy of it, and then use it. So as I said, documentation is the key. A growth hack is basically an experiment which became successful. So you do the experiment, figure out which growth hack worked, and scale it across. For example, in the previous example that I showed, which we were doing it on the Excel sheet, in that we did find out that we had a 30% increase in show up rate because we did automated calling. If I would have probably experimented with manual calling instead of automated calling, it can't be scaled, and also it will be very hard to call like 500 people exactly 5 minutes before a call. You would need a lot of resource which wouldn't be scalable. So here it can also be scaled with probably a software or a tool which does automated calls in mass. The documentation is the key for growth hack, and it's about 3 things: experiment, figure out which growth hack worked, and scale it across. It's as simple as that. So now let's try to understand the growth funnel that every growth hacker uses, which is called as AAARRR funnel or A3R3 funnel, also known as pirate funnel. Sorry, that is a mistake, but make sure you note down that it's called pirate funnel. So that is awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. So basically how this funnel works is awareness, acquisition, and activation remains the same in terms of order, but retention, revenue, and referral keeps changing from industry to industry, because in some industry revenue might come first, in some industry revenue may come at the last, so it keeps changing. So now let's try to understand this funnel, how it works in different industries with examples. First is pirate funnel for edtech. For example, let's take an example of Udemy. So here awareness is looking at an ad, acquisition is landing at the landing, probably landing at the website or landing at a landing page. Activation is you basically add it to cart. Revenue is when you purchase the product, and referral is when you share the product with your friends, family, or probably do like a social mentions. And at last, retention happens when you keep coming back to buy it again because you love the product. So basically, when you look at the funnel here, awareness and acquisition is basically responsibility of a marketer. But after he has acquired a customer, a marketer's job is not to make sure that they activate revenue and referral and retention. But a growth hacker works full funnel, which is awareness to retention. So that's the reason not always that a growth hacker is a marketer. Growth hacker might be a founder. Growth hacker might be a product guy. Growth hacker might be a tech guy, or he can be anybody, but he is someone who understands the core of business and wants to get in revenue, referral, and retention, and making sure the whole business scales. So it's not always that growth hacker has to be a marketer. So here is another example of pirate funnel for hospitals. So awareness looking at an ad, acquisition is landing at the website or the landing page, and activation is booking an appointment. Revenue comes in when they go for a checkup and pay, and retention comes in when they keep coming back for a follow-up checkups and tests. And referral happens when they finally like the service and build, and our service has built trust in that patient, and she or he starts referring to other relatives and family members. So I don't know if you noticed here. So if you look here, on edtech, for example, Udemy, that we took revenue. So after activation, revenue happens, then referral happens, then retention. But when you look here, revenue happens first, then retention, then referral. So that's why I said it keeps changing from industry to industry. Another example of spiral funnel for SaaS. So awareness is viewing the lead magnet, probably like an ebook or a free course, something like a free trial, or it can be even like a free trial to the tool. So the second thing, activation happens when he or she enters the email ID. Activation happens when they check the product out. Revenue happen when they like the product and bought the product, and retention happen when they keep buying it, which is subscribing for a subscription model. And at the last, referral happens when they like the product and start referring to their friends and families. So here, even if you see, revenue comes first, retention next, and at the last we have referral. So now let's try to understand a very two basic terms used in growth hacking. One is NSM and other is OMTM. So what is NSM? NSM is nothing but it's called North Star metric. It's that one metric that the company chases for growth. So now let's try to use examples to understand what NSM exactly is. So here is an example. If you take Zomato, the NSM that they have is chasing number of daily orders. When you take up Spotify, it's the total time spent listening to music or podcast or whatever it is. And when you take Oyo, it's the number of nights booked. And when you take Ola, it's the number of daily rides booked. And when you take WhatsApp, it's the number of messages sent. And at the last, for Instagram, it's the monthly active users. So I hope you understood with an example of all these, the basic understanding of what a North Star metric is. When I started out, I used to have this very simple question always on my mind. That is, why is North Star metric not revenue? Obviously, every business out there is chasing for revenue, but revenue always is not, it's not the NSM for all the businesses. Probably like a CFO or somebody working in the finance team would probably chase for finance, probably numbers and profits. For everyone else in the business, it's the problem that you're solving for the customers, which directly leads to the increase in revenue. Obviously, for Zomato, when they increase the number of orders, they increase the revenue. So when Oyo, when they increase the number of nights booked, they increase the revenue. When it's WhatsApp, when they increase the number of messages sent, they increase the revenue. I hope you understood what NSM exactly is. Then here comes the OMTM, which is one metric that matters. One metric that matters is the only metric you care about anything else at a given time. So now let's try to understand what is OMTM and what is NSM. So as I here said you, for example, NSM is number of daily orders. Obviously not every team in Zomato is working towards increasing the orders. They would have like a support team, they would have brand marketing team, a lot of other teams. Now that's why we have to understand what exactly is OMTM. That is one metric that matters. So OMTM varies from different branches across your business. Like here, let's take an example of Zomato. Zomato has different teams like brand marketing team, support team, product team, digital marketing team, and public relation team. What's the role of a brand marketing team? Is to get social mention. And what's the role of support team? It's to decrease the response time. And what's the role of a product team? It's make sure that you have less clicks on the app so that the customer buys the product at the end of the day. And for digital marketing team, it's acquiring new customers. And the role of a public relation team is to get in positive mentions. So when you take it like a huge picture, everybody is working towards increasing the number of orders, but different teams has to do different set of things to achieve that end goal. So here, that is what one metric that matters, OMTM, which is different to different teams. For example, in brand marketing team, it is to increase the number of social media mentions. Obviously, when you increase the social media mentions, it contributes to increasing the daily orders. So like for example, in support team, let's take an example that a customer is very hungry and then he has placed an order, and due to heavy rain the order is getting delayed by 20%, and then he kind of feels frustrated that the time of delivery has increased, and then he's trying to call the customer support team. And what if the customer support team doesn't pick his call up, or reply to his query in like 2 minutes? What if it takes 10-15 minutes or probably 30 minutes? He would obviously be frustrated and put it out on social media, tell to his friends and family about what happened to him. So obviously this is going to give them a bad impression, and they're going to lose the customer. Probably he would just shift to Swiggy or any other food delivery apps. Making sure they reduce the response rate time by 5% is obviously going to increase that number of daily orders that Zomato is going to receive. The third thing is product team. Product team is working towards making this journey short, and also making sure that a customer places the order in less than 5 clicks. When the journey is easy, a lot of people are going to do it, and this OTM is going to contribute to the North Star metric. And the digital marketing team is working towards increasing around 30,000 acquisitions a week, and this is going to contribute to the overall North Star metric of increasing the orders. When you acquire new customers, they're going to keep ordering on repeat, and this will contribute to the NSM. And public relation team is working on bringing 10 positive mentions per month, which is going to give a very huge PR and to Zomato. And obviously by looking at this, you would have brand recall and stuff, which would contribute to NSM. OMTM, one metric that matters, is different to different teams, and every team is working towards achieving that North Star metric. So this is a very basic thing that you have to understand before you start your in-depth journey of growth hacking. If you have any doubts in this session, please feel free to comment or mail me, and I would love to answer your queries. So in the next session, we'll be learning a lot about growth hacking, and a lot of frameworks, and a lot of tools, and a lot of exciting tools that you would be using in this journey. So until next time, see you. Bye bye.